Typhoon Haiyan, a storm for the record books.
The Philippines suffered one of the worst natural disasters in world's history in November 2013 when Super Typhoon Yolanda struck eastern Visayas and barreled through the central part of the country. Described as the strongest typhoon to ever make landfall, Yolanda left more than 6,500 dead and thousands of others missing or injured. While expected to be destructive, a number of post-disaster analysis and observations noted that many lives were lost due to the failure to communicate the magnitude of its effects, specifically in coastal areas. Reports showed that many of the people living communities in the direct path of Yolanda did not understand scientific terms such as storm surge that eventually wiped out thousands of houses. A scientific term such as storm surge, as simple as it sounds, resulted to countless fatalities and economic losses, mainly because people failed to understand its true meaning. The Yolanda tragedy is just the tip of the iceberg. Other gaps can be traced to the root of the problem, which is the academic system or curriculum. Science communication, as a relatively young discipline, is ever-changing. Due to the nature of this discipline, universities offer a wide array of subjects with the intent of meeting the developments in science communication. However, there are no universally applicable objectives for a science communication program because objectives are often tied to the vision and mission of the university's department. There are no specific subjects to meet these universal objectives, just an all-encompassing list of subjects compartmentalized into a science communication program. Moreover, there are no standard requirements for incoming enrollees, especially for postgraduate science communication courses. Some universities require students to undergo prerequisite subjects in specific science subjects, but others do not. Even if a student is already enrolled, the practicum and internship are not clearly mapped or linked to core subjects in science communication, which are science, education studies, social studies of science, and communication studies. Finally, there are limited venues of learning, such as special workshops or conferences, where students can better appreciate and see the practical application of science communication. As a result of these gaps, students are thus not well trained in effectively communicating science to the public. Science communication is a domain of development communication that looks at communicating science to foster understanding, appreciation, and application of science and scientific process in a manner that encourages participation by the various stakeholders.
Susan Hornig referred to it as both a range of related fields of professional practice and an interdisciplinary field of study of practice, all involving active attempts to communicate scientific subject matter to a variety of broader publics.
Dr. Manor Patay-Raya defined science communication as a way of disseminating scientific information to its specific audience.
Generally, the goal of science communication is to bridge the gap between the science and the public, bringing knowledge of science to citizens and consumers making decisions in the society. In a university setting in science communication, students learn to communicate research and its implications with the public. In most developed countries such as the United States, Australia, and the UK, for example, academic programs that focus on science communication do exist at the university, both graduate and undergraduate levels, with Australian National University in Canberra being considered as one of the first to establish a program in 1987. Majority of programs, though, are being offered as graduate programs. In the Philippines, science communication as a field of study can be traced back in the early 90s as a course in the undergraduate level at UPLB. The role of a science communicator is set and clear. Some science communicators are also scientists who connect with the public about their own research or field, such as Baroness Susan Greenfield, science popularizer and member of the House of Lords in the United Kingdom. Some are passionate advocates, such as environmental activist David Suzuki. Others are journalists or presenters like David Attenborough. while still some work for science-related organizations in a PR role, acting behind the scenes as the link between science and the public. And who wouldn't know Carl Sagan and Stephen Hawking, both well-respected scientists and science communicators at the same time? In a nutshell, science communication links science and technology to the public. Locally, its significance when highlighted in the aftermath of Yolanda, where the thousands died due to what some claimed as possible failure of communication. In the case of Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services, or PAG-ASA, several programs have been adopted to prevent a repeat of what happened during Yolanda. Many of these initiatives deal with improving the communication of scientific and technical information to the public.
We accept the fact na technical kami dahil scientific yung aming process and yung mga terms namin. Although mahirap ka rin kasing i-translate sa Filipino word. Although sinubukan namin, we had a project with Sanggunian ng Wikang Pambansa. Meron kaming withdraw na nasulat na tungkol sa mga translation sa mga local dialects. Nag-training din yung mga forecasters namin sa broadcasting kasi yung through through Panahon TV, nag-refer din sila na tumulong din sila sa amin, nag-hire sila ng mga expert in broadcasting, speaking, public speaking, gano'n. Ang isang tinitingnan namin ngayon is yung website ng PAG-ASA kasi pag may bagyo, hindi raw kami makita. So, actually ngayon, mag-host na kami sa ibang bansa, hindi na dito sa Pilipinas kasi talaga problema pag may bagyo, hindi kami mapasok yung website namin. And mag-aano din kami na, meron na rin kami apps, mobile apps sa PAG-ASA mobile app. So, Google Play, so, yung Twitter, mayroon na ring social media team na sila rin sasagot.
Dr. Kayanan, who heads the PAG-ASA Weather Division and conducts trainings of meteorology students, underscores the importance of developing communication skills among practitioners, even while they are still in school.
I think this is more important, lalo na dun sa haharap sa tao. Hindi naman lahat ng forecasters namin ay may ganong skills, so pinipili din namin. But it is important na habang nag-aaral siya, actually kami yung mga meteorologists dito, what we did is engineering graduates and then may 1 year na rigid training dito sa PAG-ASA as the regional training center ng DEVC. So, nagtuturo kasi ako doon. And what I really want for the students or the trainees to do is to develop is the skill of communication. So, minsan, kahit mahirap man-check ng essay, I try to give some essay problems and they do make it work.
In addition to initiatives introduced by those in practice, such as PAG-ASA, there are other ways to bridge the gaps between the academe and the practice of science communication. For instance, the authors of the book Communication of Scientific and Technical Information said, incorporating courses such as the philosophical foundations of science communication and scientific ethics can help in bridging the gap. They said the courses aim to develop appreciation on the philosophy of science and the scientific process, with the goal of linking students with the scientists so that they could feel how it is to be them and how to live in their world.
To think about your audience and think about the things that they'll be interested in, what knowledge they would already have, and to try to aim any communication or writing or talking about physics to that level and to not necessarily assume that they have the same background or interests that you have.
I think people don't realize how much physics they actually innately understand just by being a creature in this world that is subject to the physics laws. They actually understand a lot more than they think. And you can relate complex physics concepts to everyday relatable things very easily. And then people are more likely to understand and remember them.
It's always enthusiasm. If the audience doesn't believe that you're interested in it, then you'll get nowhere with them.
Moreover, there's a need for a continuous improvement of the courses on scientific and technical information processing and knowledge management. Constant updating of these courses is also essential so that the course could keep up with the rapid growth and changes in the field. Students in the classroom must know how to learn and interpret scientific researches. Teachers play a very critical role in making the students understand scientific researches. Implementation of various and effective classroom strategies and approaches could help in making the students understand scientific researches. It can also be advanced through interactive form of conversations, utilizing the potential of the internet. Haringula, for example, started as a classroom science tool which aims to provide a universal interactive tool for discussing evolutionary development. It then became popular because of increased readership, which resulted in increased science literacy. Another way on how to bridge the gap is to improve practicum in the actual practice of science communication in the various fields of science. The objectives and content of the programs should centrally reflect on the real world of science communicators. Longnecker considers placing practicum as an essential part of the academic program of students in Australian National University and University of Western Australia. Through this, students are exposed in the real-world assignments, tasks, and practical skills undertaken by professional science communicators. To ease the gap, students must be exposed to several communication activities and workshops. Motivation is a central key in order to inspire students more, for them to be more engaged in the work. Budget for scientists and researchers is also important in order to hone their skills so that they can encourage students more.